You know the saying, another person's waste is another person's treasure. Well, the University of Prince Edward Island is doing just that. Dr. Yulin Hu and her students are taking organic waste and repurposing it into alternative energy, from potato peels to renewable fuel. Here's a new recipe that's being created. Coming up next. Hi and welcome. Why you Hugh, right? Dr.
Yeah,
Who? Dr. Who is
yeah,
what you're called?
yeah.
Welcome to the podcast.
I'm so happy to be here as well.
That's wonderful. So before we start off, let's start with a little bit of a background and what led you to UPEI.
Yeah, my background is in chemical engineering, and I had like a couple of years experience in working on the value-added byproducts, including the biofuels and biomaterials. And also, I have some of the relevant industry experience working in Ontario and Quebec. I came to UPI in June 2021 and starting my first academic position. Like the thing really intrigued me to come to UPI is that the teaching mode that we have applied or we have used in UPI is quite different from other traditional engineering school. And at UPI, we have used the design-based teaching mode. It's unlike traditional, you have lecture, you have assignment exams sort of thing. And that is overall like the thing that intrigued me to join UPI.
So it's very hands-on. The students are not only sitting in a classroom environment, they're actually doing a lot of the work.
Yeah, we can like apply the fundamentals or basics we learn from the lecture, and then we could apply this. I think we have learned in the class into real world applications.
Very important. I first discovered your work, the work of yourself and your team from a CBC news segment recently, and it was about how you are converting potato peels into energy. And tell everyone a little bit about that and what goes into this process.
Yeah, for this process is to use the potato peel and then mix the potato peel with the sawdust and use this mixture of potato peel and the sawdust as a feedstock in the gasification process to produce the hydrogen. Like the potato is a very big industry in PAI and this contribute a lot to our economy. However, when you're processing the potato into the potato food, you're gonna generate a lot of the waste. Like the very conventional like way that you use this potato processing waste, including the peel, is that you fed into an anaerobic digester and then convert it into digestate, which can be used as the biofertilizer, and also it can produce biogas. But instead of this very conventional way, we could also use this as a feed to in the gasification to produce the hydrogen, and hydrogen is a very important the energy carrier that we use a lot in different like across different industries.
Right. And you mentioned earlier PEI, is known for its potatoes. So why potato peels?
It's like we don't have to. The reason why we're like kind of like lean on the using the potato peel is that when you are processing, because some of the potato relevant food you have to remove the skin. So how the industry can like deal with this skin instead of like just fed into the digester, or even some of the like some part of the world they just dump it and then do the landfill. It will be really bad for the environment. So that's kind of the reason it trigger us like how we can valorize, how can we use this skin from the potato.
Awesome. Another project that you're working on, and you talked about it quickly, was about how you're producing hydrogen using water as the feedstock. And I might need a little bit of background on what feedstock is, but you're using feedstock and UV light to drive
Yes.
a reaction to split the hydrogen and
Yes.
HO2. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah, expand on that a little bit.
So for this process is like alternative process to gasification, which I earlier mentioned. For this process, we can also produce the hydrogen as the main product. For this process, we call as the photocatalytic water splitting test. For this reaction, we just using the UV light as the sole energy source to drive the reaction. And then we add the photocatalyst, which we synthesize in our lab. And then we can do this reaction by utilizing the UV energy, like the photon energy. And then this energy could split the water molecule into the hydrogen. And the good thing is that we also can produce the oxygen as the byproduct as well, because hydrogen and oxygen has a wide range of applications in the industry.
They do, for sure. Another project that we were talking about earlier before the podcast was about how it's also related to energy, and it's converting organic waste into bio oil and using it as like alternative fuel source for cars and trucks. That's really interesting
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah, thanks. So for this project is that we're focusing on the waste that are generated in PEI. So we're mainly focused on using, for example, the sawdust. Like not only PEI has some of the sawdust, but in entire Canada they have a lot of like big resources of the wood. And we also another type of the waste we are focusing on is to use the waste from the agriculture, like which are the crops we are going to focusing on will be the main crops cultivated in PEI.
Wonderful.
And the process we are going to do is called the pyrolysis. We're gonna like put our like sawdust, all the agricultural waste into the pyrolysis. We could produce the bio oil and the biochar as well. For like if we can do further like upgrading of this bio oil, we could turn it into the transportation fuel. And we don't need any like modification to the car engine or diesel engine that we currently used. And this upgraded bio oil could be mixed well with the gasoline and the diesel fuel, and then we can use it in our car.
So it would be an
And
alternative to like gasoline
yes,
or diesel, and it's a
yes,
renewable energy, I guess.
yes.
Cool. Well, is there anything else? So with bio oil, I really see that as a great opportunity there, to further do some research on. What other types of organic waste products are you working with?
We also work another project in my lab is that we're working on also turn this organic waste into the bioadsorbent. And then for this type of the adsorbent, we have tested that it could be able to capture the CO2. And also for this materials could be to remove some of the organic pollutants in the wastewater. For example, the synthetic dyes or the pesticides that you can find on the wastewater stream.
That is really cool. Now, when sawdust is like converted, it changes, it soaks things up. It's used as a chemical makeup. So, it's really interesting how your work is focusing on that area. It can be applied in so many different ways.
Yeah, it's bad because in our like what we think is that nowadays like we use different, for example, renewable energy, solar energy, wind energy sort of thing, but different across the different industry we still emit a lot of the CO2. For example, in PEI, half of the CO2 emissions come from the agriculture. So we're thinking whether we could be synthesize materials that will be very effective to absorb the CO2. So it's kind of like also can help like to reduce our CO2 emission to help to reduce the greenhouse gas as well.
Interesting. Tell me what's next for your lab. What type of projects are you working on? And yeah, just give us kind of a highlight.
So far, I would like to say two big part of the work that like my group is currently working on. So we wanted to the first part is that we want to further improve our process. For example, how we can further improve the quality of the bio-oil that we produce from the pyrolysis, and how we can like synthesize a more effective photocatalyst that can be used in the water splitting test that could be able to enhance the hydrogen production. So there will be like one part of my group. Another very important part is that we are trying to build a research platform at UPEI, and this research platform with support from the federal government. That we wanted to build a platform like on the value-added byproducts on this field.
Interesting. Are you seeing more interested students? Like, I know the end goal is to educate and create awareness and to do studies, but what do you think the future looks like for people studying alternative energy or alternate energy?
I feel like we're like especially our engineering department is growing, and then I feel like we have more undergrad student and graduate student. They are interested in this field, and I can feel like the number of students who are taking these relevant courses is it's growing. So I would like to say there in growing interest of students in this field, and I think the future for students are I think are bright because of there's a strong need for the industry to decarbonize. So which definitely they will need to use like alternative energy to reduce the fossil fuel consumption. So I would like to say the future a different will be very bright, and the student could be able to work in different areas as well.
Wonderful. Listen, I thank you for your time, YU, and all the work that you're doing at UPEI and finding creative ways to work with organic waste material and whatever is anybody what's the saying? Whatever is someone's waste is someone else's gold, something along that line. And you're truly taking advantage of that.
Yeah, we want to turn waste into valuable materials that we don't have to dump it or lose it.
Exactly. All right. Thanks again for your time today.
Yes, thanks for having me today.
It's no secret that Prince Edward Islanders have embraced non-emitting renewable energy resources. And UPEI is educating a new generation of engineers to rethink and reimagine energy. Thanks to Yulin and her colleagues for leading the charge there. This podcast is sponsored by Smart Energy. Registration for the April conference is going on now, so make sure you register. Thanks for tuning in today. We'll talk to you next time.